All right, we'll continue our media availabilities with Rookie of the Year contender, Connor Zilisch. And if you have a question for Connor, we'll just wait for that door to close. If you have a question for Connor, please raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. Please, as always, state your name and affiliation. We'll start over here with Barry.
Connor, last year definitely stellar year coming into Cup. The obvious question is how much of that success you feel like you can transfer into this opportunity, and then also, putting behind you a stellar season, but coming up just one short for that championship run last year.
Yeah, last year definitely, lights a fire under me to go out and, chase something that I've wanted to accomplish for a long time. I know I couldn't win the championship last year, and I know it's going to be way, way different this season. So, I don't have any expectations to go out and win a championship at all, but I definitely want to work towards that and one day be able to be in the position to go out and win one. But I'm just excited for this season to go out and learn, have fun, enjoy it. I know it's going to be a challenge. I know it's going to be tougher than it was last year, and I'm ready for that, though.
I remember last year I asked a question about the goals that you and your crew chief set in the Xfinity Series. Have you all set similar goals in Cup Series for this year?
No, I haven't really set any goals for myself. I don't know what to expect really coming into this year. So it's hard to set expectations when, there's so many news for me and my team. So I'm excited. My biggest goal is to be a better driver at the end of the year than I am today. And if I can accomplish that, then I'd be satisfied.
Go back here to Matt.
Matt Weaver, motorsport.com. Every Cup Series veteran says there's nothing that can really prepare them for once they get to this level, and I'm curious, what has been the best advice, and from from those who have done it, that you've kind of reached out to say, hey, what do I need to do to be like you guys?
Yeah, I think everybody I've talked to has told me that it's going to be harder than I expect it to be, and I think after 10, 15 guys that have done it, have told me that, I think that's when it finally starts to sink in and you realize that, okay, maybe these guys aren't lying to me. So I definitely, I've gotten some great advice from a lot of people, but overall I'd say the biggest thing is just to not let the stress and pressure of racing at the highest level overcome the amount of just life lessons and the enjoyment of living out your dream. I think that's, for me, the biggest thing is I, no matter how hard it gets, no matter, how many, bad days and good days there's going to be, to just remember that, you are living out your childhood dream. You made it to where you want to be, and just remember to enjoy it.
Go to John and then Tim.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of figuring it out quickly. I'm in Group 1. The track's obviously been sitting here for a while and hasn't had the best weather kind of on it the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So by no means is practice going to be an indicator of how qualifying is going to be. But I got to test at Wilkesboro a couple weeks ago and get a little bit of short track experience. But yeah, this track's going to be a lot different than Wilkesboro was. So, I'm just going to have to learn quick and adapt quick and figure it out on the go. But it's certainly not going to be easy today. I know that, already being in Group 1, it's we're all at a bit of a disadvantage just with how the track's going to evolve. But, everybody is kind of dealt the same cards. So you got to figure it out and deal with it and make the most of the situation you got.
Go Tim and then Deb.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Day. Connor, you kind of just hit getting the test at Wilkesboro and so on, but my question is more of, Bowman Gray is a different animal from, let's say a Martinsville where you got experience at last year. Is there any way you can prepare for the level of physicality this track provides, or is it just you go out there and see what happens?
Yeah, there's no way to prepare for it, right? You can go on iRacing, and I'm sure that iRacing would probably be pretty similar to how it's going to be today with everybody hitting each other, and that's really the only way to pass. It's hard to pass here without making contact. So it just leads to being a physical race, and I think everybody knows that coming in. So that's why you don't see tempers flare. Obviously, people get upset and you can get mad, but at the end of the day, it's expected. So it's bound to happen. You can't let it get to you. You can't get emotional. You just got to focus on making your next best corner and making the most of the next opportunity you have. So it's certainly going to be new to me. I've never raced at really a track like this before. I raced at Flat Rock in Michigan and ARCA once, but ARCA is obviously a lot different than the Cup Series. So it's going to be an experience for me, and I've got a lot to learn, but I'm excited. I mean, I feel like starting off the year here, kind of low pressure. We're not racing for points. Just go out and do your best to make the show.
And you kind of mentioned earlier you don't have expectations going into this year in regards to goals, but now that you have had time to reflect on last year, is there anything that you felt like you struggled on the most that maybe you want to get better at for this year as a driver?
Yeah, I mean, we all have our struggles, right? And nobody's perfect, and obviously I feel like there's things that I can work on. I feel like last year I was, there's a couple tracks I struggled at, and I feel like I did let myself get a little bit too comfortable at points. I knew my cars were going to be good every week, and that can lead to having that expectation that no matter what happens, I'm going to go out and contend for a win, and I think that's a bad mindset to have. So, obviously that's not going to be the case this year. I'm not going to have the expectation to go out and win every week, so that's going to change. But I feel like just making sure that I stay hungry no matter what's going on is important, and I think that that's going to be more so the case this year with the fact that I'm going to have to catch up to the guys that I'm around, and I know that going into it. So, I'm ready for that challenge. I know it's, I've got a lot ahead of me. I've got a lot of races ahead of me. I got a lot of experience and lessons over the next 40 weeks, but that excites me.
Go up here to Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. Connor, we always hear seat time's critical. You can't get enough seat time. But you've already been in the Rolex 24. You finished second there. So already having that in there, how does running the Rolex 24 help you prepare for what you're facing now?
Yeah, I don't know if it really gets any more opposite than the Rolex 24 in a hybrid hypercar versus coming to Bowman Gray in a cup car, but it's good to get all the muscles warmed up and get back in a competitive spirit. That was my first time racing at the highest level of IMSA, and I'm going into my first year in the Cup Series, which is the highest level of NASCAR. So it was good to get that challenge, and I struggled at first in that, just like I expect to have to learn here as well. So I'm just excited to go through it, right? I've got a great team around me with Trackhouse and everybody. So, did the Rolex prepare me for today? I wouldn't say, those two correlated all that much, but the experience of racing at the highest level and having, a lot of great people around me and surrounding me at that race is definitely helpful, and the more experience like that I can get, the better. So I'm excited for this season. I got a lot to look forward to with a great team around me in Trackhouse and great teammates with Shane and Ross, and just excited to hopefully make the most of it.
Any final questions for Connor? Go to Alan.
Alan Cavan, to the point about practice, it's been a few years since we've had any practice and all that stuff. I assume teams have adapted to that, but drivers coming up, what does allow you to close the gap, if at all? Is it sim? Do you still watch tape? What can help a young driver now that we've had a few years of maybe you can look back on?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's not really an answer to that one. I'm 19 years old, and 15 years ago, you'd say the way to make up the experience is to just go pound laps each week and be at the track 4 days a week and test every day. But, nowadays there is no way to make up experience, right? Everyone runs the same amount of laps each year. We all race 38 weekends, and we all practice and qualify each week, and that's all we do. So, no matter what I do, I'm lacking 4 years of next-gen experience compared to the guys that I'm racing against. So, Yeah, I mean, you can do as much as you can. I've got a great group of people at Chevrolet with Josh Wise and everybody over there who I work with each week to prepare. But at the end of the day, there is no way to make up experience, and at the highest level, that's tough to accept. But you know, I'm in a spot where I have to adapt and learn and figure things out quickly. And I think all the rookies who have gone to the Cup Series know that, and you know, they understand that you can't sit here and complain about it because, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah, you just got to figure things out quickly and adapt and be adaptable. And I think that's the only way you can do it. And the simulators are great; they help. But at the end of the day, it's nothing like strapping into a race car and going out and racing for real.
Anything else for Connor? And we'll wrap right here in the middle.
Right here, Connor. Christian Gladney, ABC 45. You talked about how tonight is a low-pressure situation and kind of wanting to navigate, don't let the highs get too high, lows get too low. I'm curious, with making this transition and leap, what are specific advice that you've received from, you know, veteran drivers or other people across the sport when, you know, embarking on this rookie campaign?
Yeah, I feel like I touched on it a little bit, but yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that you know, it's going to get old quick. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of bad weeks, and you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win. So I feel like I've had a lot of great advice. I want people to be honest with me. I don't want people to fluff me. You know, I want to be able to have honest advice from people that I can trust, and I feel like I've gotten that. And I feel like going into this year, my biggest goal and you know, kind of my mindset is just to try and get better each week and kind of ignore what the results are, because the results will fluctuate. You know, you'll have good weeks and bad weeks, but you know, if I look back on the year and I say that I'm the same driver today that I will be in November at Homestead, then you know, that's when I know that I've done something wrong. So I'd say the biggest advice and most, you know, the advice that I've heard the most is just to have fun and enjoy it, and don't let it get, you know, don't let the moment be too big, and just always remember to try and have fun, because if you're going to be here for a long time, you can get burnt out quick, you know, if you are too hard on yourself.
I appreciate it, Connor. And
Thank you, guys.
Good luck today.